So the Carolina Panthers are in the heat of their head coach interviewing process, and the list has gotten longer than a rap sheet at this very moment. But with that being the case, we're going to break down some of our favorite candidates for the head coaching gig. You're listening to Money in the Bank. So to start this video off, we got to go through the list of guys that have been linked to the job and guys that have also interviewed thus far. And we'll split it up into offensively and defensive guys so far that have been, attached to this job. So offensively, you have Jim Caldwell, Ben Johnson, Shane Steichen, Ken Dorsey, Frank Reich, Mike Kafka, and Kellen Moore. Defensively, you have Steve Wilkes, D'Amico Ryans, and Gerard Mayo. Now, Mayo, I don't think it's seriously being considered. I think Gerard Mayo and Jim Caldwell are two Rooney Rule candidates, meaning that they're good enough candidates to where you can't be suspicious because we just interviewed a black guy, but we gave you a couple good black guys that we interviewed so you can take it seriously in what we were trying to do. D'Amico Ryans is a legitimate guy, but I don't know if the issue with Ryans is that he's gonna probably be making a deep playoff run. How much longer can you wait on the guy to get to be ready to take over the team as of right now? And also, I have other things as to why I don't think D'Amico Ryans is a guy that I think we necessarily need anyway. But obviously, same with Jim Caldwell. Jim Caldwell is a guy that has been around the league for a while. He's coached successful teams, coached successful offenses. He's a good enough candidate to be a head coach right now today. Gerard Mayo, I'm not as sure on. I'm not as sure on Gerard Mayo today, right? Jim Caldwell, I am though. He's been proven. He should be a head coach right now for somebody. And Detroit even is just now recovering from that debacle that they had. They're on the second coach since Caldwell, so that shows you that they got it wrong as well. But they again have rectified that. Caldwell should be a guy that should be getting a head coaching gig right now. Should be getting serious talks and not just Rooney Rule, petty interviews. But the game is the game. Obviously, in 2023, I don't believe there's a team out there that's seriously going to consider making him their guy. Even though, right, like, say for example in Houston, I'm kind of getting off topic here. Say for example in Houston, how you wouldn't hire Lovie Smith for whatever reason. I'm not sure that hiring didn't make much sense to me even when it was made and it was announced. A guy like Jim Caldwell would have been a guy that I would have banged the table for. But considering your history with black candidates now, I don't think any black coach should even consider even being on the staff for that organization. But I digress. Now let's continue to look through this list. And I guess my thing here is that I'm going to be trying to be going through who I list as like the top candidates I want for the job. So let's get started. For me, Steve Wilkes is the number one on my list. That's the guy I like. That's the guy I want. He has the locker room one behind him, and they're pushing for him. And also, I think that he showed that he can be resourceful with what he has. He can make what he has flourish depending on the situation. I mean, that team came in with 1 win when he took over, 1-4. Ended with 7 wins. Under his tutelage and under his leadership, that team could have been a playoff team had he had a few more games and a few more opportunities to get the job done. I think he did as much as he could do. The only thing he could have done, the only thing else he could have done is made the playoffs. That would have not solidified it, but it would have made it a hard case to go against him. And you saw what the Raiders did. The Raiders had their interim head coach take them to the playoffs and try to go for greener pastures. I forewarn everybody of that and say that it's not always going to work out by just trying to get the home run hire and the hire that everybody in the NFL world would like. Go with what's going to work for you. Keep that in mind. But I digress. So Steve Wilkes would be my number one. Frank Reich is my number two. Mind you, I want Frank Reich on Steve Wilkes' staff if he's able to get the job. But Frank Reich is my number two option because of the work he's done with quarterbacks overall in the league. I have a trustworthiness that he can put together a staff that I would like and that everybody could be okay with and say, we can go win with this. And I think he's a guy that also that the younger guys and the older guys can get behind and look at as an actual leader and not just a guy that's cool, that's good with the X's and O's. But Frank Reich is my number two guy. Now, when we get to 3 through 5, now we start to go younger. My number 3 guy is Shane Steichen. offensive coordinator from the Philadelphia Eagles, mainly because of what he's done with Jalen Hurts and making that team and that offense viable. Now, shout out to Philadelphia's front office for making the trade for A.J. Brown, going to get your young quarterback weapons. That's the key here overall in all of this. But Shane Steichen, on the other hand, right? Buying into what Jalen Hurts does well. He's a guy that can run the football. He's a guy that I think similar to a guy that we had in our past, balances the game. He can balance the game out and gets into a rhythm because of his running ability. That's what you like. And if that's what he does, accentuate it, exacerbate it, make that the main thing. And they've done that. You have an offense now that is balancing the ground attack, balanced with the offense attack. And not only that, you have 2 receivers with over 1,000 yards. So you've been able to engineer a passing offense with Jalen Hurts that has been more than viable so far this year with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Shane Steichen will have, I think, a roster that he can work with. You have wide receiver 1 and DJ Moore, running back by committee with Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard, depending on what they want to do with that running back room. An offensive line that has his anchors in Taylor Moton and Ike Ekwonu. And offensive line overall that was good. Now, the one question mark I'll tell you for anybody that takes over this job is that our 2 guards are out. But Corbett and Christensen both injured in that final game. Those would be question marks in the months leading up until training camp and the preseason. Those 2 guys will probably not be starting on opening day. That'll be a question mark for our team going into the offseason and what we do to address those 2 injuries. Bradley Bozeman obviously is going to be a priority signing this year for the Panthers as well. But overall, with what we have, even if you decided that at number 9, you want to take Anthony Richardson, who's a guy I like a lot. I like the improvements he made throughout the course of the season, and his pocket presence and his playmaking ability is all there. I think he's a guy that I can take at 9, I can be okay with, and know that I have a coach that's going to make sure he does what he needs to do to make him a viable guy for us. That's the overall thing there. Yeah. So even if the mindset is to trade for a quarterback, because I'm not trading up. Here's the thing: I don't think we should trade up for a quarterback in the draft. If you're gonna trade picks for a quarterback, you trade them to Baltimore and you get Lamar Jackson. Because the overall haul that the 49ers sent for Trey Lance, right, hasn't been worth it. Absolutely not. That trade would have been worth it for a veteran guy, let's say like a Lamar Jackson. So that's where I'm at with that. So I think Shane Steichen's there. His overall history with coaching quarterbacks, not having the top 5 picks, and you won't have the choice in the matter of a Bryce Young or a Stroud if he decides to forego his senior season. Shane Steichen will be the guy. Ben Johnson, I think, here's my thing. I go 4 DeMeco Ryans and 5 Ben Johnson. DeMeco Ryans obviously because of what he's done with that 49ers defense and making it the unit in the NFL right now. And Ben Johnson because of what he was able to do with Jared Goff and that offensive group. And here's the thing, Jared Goff was a guy that I don't think anybody thought that once he left Sean McVay could be a viable quarterback in this league. Not Shane Steichen, but Ben Johnson made him into a 4,000-yard passer, a guy that limited his turnovers and showing that he can be a quarterback that you can get behind and you can build behind. That's hence why Jared Goff is going to be getting more years and more time as a starting quarterback in Detroit, keeping them away from having to draft a quarterback this upcoming season. Pretty big damn deal. DeMeco Ryans obviously coaching the defense that he's coached as being one of the best units in the league, a top 10 unit in the league that's going to be looking to try to be the force to push the 49ers to a Super Bowl berth this upcoming season, or this upcoming playoff, and obviously the playoffs start today. So those are my 2 guys to round out the head coaching power rankings, at least for me. But overall, what do you guys think? I think I've given you what my thoughts. Get in the comment section and tell us what you think. Tell us on the Instagram post what you think as well. I think the Panthers are in a good position, but we're at the point now where we got to stop adding lists of candidates onto this thing. I think we have the core group that we have, the guys I just named. Those guys are the guys you need to be focused on and go from there. But I'm your host, Sean T. Stewart. You've been listening to Money in the Bank. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at P1N_network and follow our parent page at Panthers Nation with the one where the eye's supposed to be, because you already know what time it is. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And with that being said, I'm out.